Hi everyone, welcome to this session on how the elemental steps works. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of how to go about with your elemental estimate. What I could see in some of the feedback that I got was that that some students are struggling just with getting a grasp of the overview of how to conduct the elemental estimate. Thank you also for everyone for submitting the informals. I think it was quite a good exercise in the sense of getting you started and getting everything going at least. What I could see from the submitted informal is basically that everyone is getting a bit of a grasp of how it works. But what I also just want to say is that please do not over-engineer the task. Rather focus on the main points that I'm going to run through now. Don't get bogged down with the rate build-up and so on. The rate build-up is important, but it's secondary to the actual measurements and setting up your elemental estimate. It's more important for me to actually see that you understand the structure of the elemental estimate than doing the rate build-up. The rate build-up, once you've got the structure done, usually the rest of it falls in place. So I'm just going to look at the example that I shared with you on the community hall that I've distributed that PDF, and also I've posted a step-by-step guide on how just to go about on the just a bit of a one step-by-step guide on what you need to do when and what's the priority and so on. So the first step is you need to get your drawings and historical data or other data in place. So you can go through these steps and see if it makes sense to you, but the main thing is what I want you to focus on is to get this template, the blank template that I've shared with you, to get that in place. If that's in place, then everything will fall in place. And also I don't want you to spend too much time in trying to making or doing the measurements, doing the, like I said, the rate build-ups, spending too much time in getting it exactly right. Like I said previously, it's more important that you get the structure correct. So when you look at your elemental estimate, you've got three sheets that you've got. You've got your summary sheet, your elemental summary, and then you've got your estimate on this side. So this example that I'm showing you was for a community hall, so there is a few technical items, or it's quite a lot. It's a larger elemental estimate than you would have because you've got most has a residential building also that you're measuring. So the main thing is to get your setup right and to make sure that your formulas and everything is putting through to the front. Okay, so main thing is first place that you start is your elemental estimate, the estimate sheet, or the where you have your different elements or components, and you will put your structure in here. So what you do is the first step is you get your guideline. So this is the guideline, elemental guideline. So you take your item here, you structure it accordingly. You've got 100 item 100 substructure, and then you've got your items below that, which is your unreinforced strip footings, etc, etc. Okay, so the first thing is to actually set that up. So this is what I've done here, and most of you, well, everyone has done everything of your structure, top floor to your ground floor already. So what you will see here is in this specific instance, I had reinforced strip footings, but it varied in size. So what the numbering allows is for you to actually add your own numbers. So 100.15 is the one given in the guideline. Okay, so it's reinforced strip footings that I had. So it's 100.15 reinforced strip footings, etc. Okay, and so you will see there's a gap. It allows for 5 items underneath it that's similar to that. So if you do need to use that for some or other reason, you can do it like that. So in my instance, I had various thickness of strip footings, so I just used 100.16 for the 220 and then 100.17 for the 350 millimeter thick strip footing. So yes, so I think everyone is quite familiar now with getting the structure right and doing the descriptions. The descriptions was quite good. I saw a lot of detail in that. So yeah, please continue with that. What makes it good if you've done the entire structure is that you can actually now see, like for instance, if you look at your ground floor, you've got steps and ramps and so on. Your steps is only on ground floor, so these steps will not be the steps from your ground floor to your first floor. It will rather be steps leading up to your first floor, like an entrance door, or maybe if you've got a house on different levels, that type of steps. So please take note of that. If you've got any service ducts, trenches, or anything else similar to that. So go through your guideline and tick off all the boxes, and make sure that you measure everything at the correct place. So just the other technical items that I wanted to speak to you about is, please note that you will see your different units here according to the guideline. Then you will have your quantities in here. Okay, these sundry items, I see one or two actually use this quite well with one or two extra items. I usually have sundry items, and it's a bit of a percentage because most of the drawings that I work on is still very preliminary. So on this specific project, it was only sketch plans still, so there wasn't a lot of detail, so I had to allow for a couple of items. So please just take note of that. Something else which is quite technical of nature that I saw in the submissions is make sure that your number settings or the displays is correct. So, and also be consecutive, or use the same method the whole time. Please make sure that your settings for your numbering is correct, that it actually shows it as monetary value in your rate and your amount columns on this side. Also have a look at just making it uniform, making it look nice, taking the thicker lines through from one side to the other, that you know this is your substructure and everything underneath this is your substructure. Okay, and then the next thing that you need to look at is summation of your items. So you've got your different primary elements on this side, and then underneath it you've got your items measured. So you add those together to get to your total for that specific element. So please make sure that you've added all of these items together. Okay, then the quantity that you've got in here is the square meter of your entire building. So it works, converts it back to a square meter rate for the entire building. So now you can see my substructure on this building worked out at 220 Rand and 60 cents per square meter for the substructure. Okay, and this will vary depending on the size of your building and so forth. So obviously, if your building gets smaller, everything gets condensed a little bit more, so you will have more strip footing per square meter of floor area, and thus your rate will increase. Okay. So what you do then is you take your total amount that you added up for this section, so that section there, and what you do is you simply divide it, your square meter area with your total cost, and to get to your rate per square meter. And this you continue to do with all of your items. So this continues like that. So you have your structural frame, external facade, roof, everything is converted back to a square meter. Just a note, I use the roof pitch on this side to get to a square meter rate, because I always do that. You can use the your floor area for this side as well. So just make sure that you do that. And also, if you're in doubt, like for instance, if you get to your plumbing, let me just see here, we've got plumbing, so I've measured the plumbing items here. You can actually use square meter here. So if you're in doubt, you can use square meter here. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's either your square meter or the unit that you actually use for that specific item. So these items here. Okay, safest route will be to use square meter in this instance, so you can rather do this and just, okay, I'm just going to do that. Okay, so rather use the square meter to calculate your square meter rate here. So it's just safer if you're in doubt. Please take note of that. Sorry. Okay, so we're back here. So once you've done all of your items here underneath 100 for your primary elements, what you need to do is you need to add all of these items underneath primary items. You will see that I've added all of them here. So everything adds up to that section there. Okay. You will see all our primary items is added up there. Okay. So that's your primary items. If you have special items, you do the same with your special items. So I had dewatering here underneath the building, and then we had, so I just added all of them together as well. Okay. Okay, so once that is done, you take all your different items to your elemental summary sheet. So your elemental summary sheet is added here. So basically what you need to do is you need to link it with your estimate sheet on this side. So let's do substructure. Your substructure will be, you enter a equal sign, and then you go to the item that you actually want to link to that amount. So what you do is you just link that. Okay, so you can see the 359,000 I've linked here. So, and then you will take your quantity to this side, and then you will have your unit here. I just want to see why this column is so wide. Actually narrow that a little, make it look a little bit better. Okay, and then what you do then is you take your quantity, bring it forward from this side. So this is our 1541. In here it's measured in units, so you will see it's just that summary section of each item or each element that was taken forward. Okay, so that is taking it forward to your summary sheet, so then you can see all your primary elements or your elements on this side. Special installations, yours won't be this extensive. Equipment also won't be that extensive. Tenant installations, okay, I left that one at 0 because it wasn't known, but you might have some tenant installations as well, like for instance access control or entertainment or anything like that. Alterations, I don't think there's many of you that will have alterations. That's just alterations is if it's an existing building that there's some alterations that's taking place, so then it's measured underneath that according to the guideline. Okay, and then you will see that I've added the page break here. If you want to add a page break, you can go to print area and to page layout here, and then you will say insert page break here. Okay, then I had external works. Okay, quite a few items here. You will have 1 or 2 external works items here, like for instance your swimming pools, etc. Will be here: pergola, canopies, pools, sports facilities, etc. So just go through the guideline and tick that boxes as you go along. Okay, and then you've got items element 7, which is your preliminaries. So your preliminaries is worked out as a percentage. So let's just go to preliminaries just to show you. Okay, equipment, alterations, electrical installations. Here we go. So okay, we've got our preliminaries in this side. So P's and G's at 8%. I used 8% because it was quite a large building. If you're in doubt, use 10%, as I always say. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just added all of the different elements together. Okay, you will see that it's all the external works, all of these items added together. What you can also do, which is also a possibility, is to add all of your items here on your summary sheet, because it's just closer by. So you will have your primary items plus your special installations plus your equipment. Okay, there's none there. And then external works, just see if there's anything else. Contingencies is after P's and G's, so that is more or less it. So you will see it adds up to the same amount. Then I just calculated 8% on that. Okay, then on top of that, what you basically do is you just add 10% to that amount. So what I did here is I calculated the contingencies based on all of the elements up to this point as usual, and then I just calculated it using a 10% added there. Okay, escalation, I added, okay, there was quite a long period. If you use anything between 2 and 3%, I think that should be fine. I saw many students have already used that. And then you just calculate that on top of your total cost that you calculated here. And you add that, you can see what the contribution to your total cost is, and then you will add all of them together. Okay, so now when you use your percentage calculator. What you do is, the easiest that I found when you do your tax on this side is, okay, we're working on 15%, so this was still just before the VAT went up, is you add all of your items together. So you've got your total cost that you worked out here, and you add your escalation to it, and this is 100%. So whenever you do work out your percentage, it's always divided with this amount here before tax. So please be mindful of that. I saw a lot of calculations that was done after VAT, so that means just that your percentages won't be accurate, or that accurate. So just make your percentages will work out much better. Please leave the percentages right until the last item that you need to rectify. Otherwise it's going to bog you down, because it is quite a technical item to get a grasp of. So if you're in doubt, rather leave this section out, rather focus on getting your summary sheet and your elemental estimate going correct, or having that in place, rather than getting the percentages and stuff right. Otherwise it's just going to bog you down again. Same as with your rate build-up. Okay, so once we've done that, so I'm just going to show you. So the percentage here is this total amount divided with the amount before VAT. Okay, and here you can see that I've done the same, and I've done that for each element. The other option is again to do it on the summary sheet. We've got everything summarized. So on your summary sheet, it's just easier to get a grasp of everything. So you've got your total current construction cost, then you add your contingencies, your escalation to get your final construction cost, and then you can actually calculate the percentage on that. So you can see here it's 100%. And then what I've done is exactly the same as on the previous on your elemental sheet. You just divide that with your total cost before that. Okay. Okay. On this sheet I just added the percentages here. So on this one the percentages isn't that important. If like I said, if you do struggle with it, you just leave this section out, just not to waste too much time. Like I said, rather focus on getting your layout correct and having all of your items measured. That's more important than getting the rates correct, or 100% correct. And you want to get to a point where you can actually see the bottom line. So if you can see the bottom line, you can see where your mistakes are. So if you can see your bottom line, and then you can go back and make adjustments to your rates, or to your items that you've measured, or to your percentages and so on. Okay, so this is a very important sheet to have in place. So this is just your summary sheet, and then you've got from here you take all of your primary elements to the front. So you've taken here, look at your alignment. Many students I saw the alignment wasn't correct, so just bring each item forward. So your primary items again equals to primary items in the rate is again calculated by dividing your total square meter area with this cost. Okay, I just divided it with the item here. these two columns isn't too important to have it in here. In this specific example, I just added it on request by the client. They just wanted to see it here as well, and then from there you can calculate your percentage again. So again, remember, if your 100% is before VAT. Okay, and then you do the calculation like that. So see that all of your formulas and everything adds up to the front. Also note to get this layout correctly. Okay, all of this is fine. Okay, and then you've got your program assumptions. You can base this on your first task, putting that in. This is fairly straightforward. Just have a look on items that's added here, and then please make sure that when you do print your document, that the print settings is correct, and that your summary sheet is the first page, then it's followed by your elemental summary, and then it's your components followed after that, and then you would add your rate build-ups behind that, and then please also remember to add your drawings to your final task. Okay, so good luck with preparing everything and for your task. If there's questions, please send it through, and then I'll have a look at it and give you some feedback. Thanks everyone.